Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and today's Saturday special. Welcome back, and Quarterlight, if you don't know, is a car brochure channel. We look at car brochures 3 times a week, so if that interests you, please consider subscribing. You're currently watching the Saturday special, which is just a roundup of the week, and this week we've also hit a bit of a milestone, so we're going to have a look at that as well. So here is our latest milestone. We've reached over 500 subscribers very recently, but we've now in the last day reached over 4,000 public watch hours now, currently at 4,026 public watch hours. So thank you for everyone who's watched an entire video or even part of a video. It all adds up, so I do appreciate that. So yeah, so thank you for all the views. I do really appreciate that. So on Monday, of course, we started looking at the Volkswagen Passat B4, a 1994 brochure. This was actually a viewer's requested brochure. I don't want to mention any names, but I appreciate the request, and I actually enjoyed going through that and talking about the Passat. And from the comments, it looks like quite a few of you enjoyed that as well. So thank you so much. And that really took us to this much earlier. We went to the 70s then, didn't we, for the Vauxhall Ventura? And what a huge contrast those 20 years made. 1974, 1994, 20 years difference, which kind of always makes me think, if you look at cars from 20 years ago today, you kind of like almost feel still modern. Where what a huge contrast between those two vehicles. This is actually one of my favourite brochures. I think I mentioned it in the video because of the wording on there. Very, very 70s. And then yesterday we looked at the Ford Transit, which we all know and love. We did kind of like, well, very briefly mention this brochure as well, didn't we, for the earlier Mark 1 Transit, this one from 69. We didn't get much chance to look at this because, you know, this is more suited to a review video, but maybe we should just very briefly just look at some of the things from this Ford Transit brochure. So the first thing really to mention about this brochure, other than when was the last time you looked at a 60s Ford Transit, I wonder how many there are left. I'm sure there are some that have been restored, because, you know, it is after all quite an iconic vehicle now. Unusual about this brochure, it kind of like opens the wrong way in sort of 3-leaf fashion to show these two shots of these transit vans. Very unusual, sort of like a mirrored shot. I don't know why they did that. But at the top there it says the supervan, yesterday and tomorrow, and some of this text is quite unusual. It's quite interesting, so let's have a look at a bit of that. So quite interesting, it says October the 6th, 1965. That was the day we brought out the Ford Transit, the day all other vans suddenly became old-fashioned. And you know, in many ways that's kind of like true. The vans in the 60s and earlier in the 50s were very crude and uncomfortable vehicles that you really wouldn't want to drive. Now we got this, you know, almost fast load-lugging vehicle, so certainly it did step things up. In the 3 hectic years since then, the Transit has become far and away Britain's best-selling van range. More than a third of all new medium commercial vehicles sold are Transits. Why? Other vans are just vans. Transit is a super van. That's the difference. The difference between vans, which in some cases are up to 12 years old in basic design, and Transit, the only van built for modern conditions. So a great selling point, and, you know, like I say, in many ways quite factual. And then it goes on to this particular brochure. So this is the 65. So it says, okay, now what about Supervan for 1969? Well, there's a lot more yet. Improved sliding doors, anti-lock anti-theft locks on the sliding windows, tubular rubber strips on the rear doors for better sealing, but even more important, there are no less than 23 extra safety features to make the already very safe Transit the finest safety package in its class. The following pages provide all the detail. It ends by saying this is Supervan. In 65, the most advanced van range on the road, today and tomorrow, even further ahead of its competitors. Your Ford dealer is waiting to prove it to you. Make a date with him soon. It folds back and then kind of like this would really be the end, but it's in the middle. Talks a little bit about some of the features. We'll pick some of the features out. It's very wordy though, so we're not going to read all of that. Starts off by saying Supervan power, no other van range gives you such an engine choice as Transit. 4 petrol, 1 diesel from 52 to 93 brake horsepower. I think I possibly would have avoided the diesel at this time. Then it talks about Supervan access, and with this very weird sentence, the Transit excels in being get-atable in every respect, big wide doors, etc, etc. And then the choice, the variations of the Transit theme are so numerous that they make other manufacturers' choice look as limited as Hobson's. But yeah, certainly we looked at the later brochure, didn't we, yesterday, and certainly you could see all those different variations of Transit that you really could get. And then finally, Supervan comfort. Compared to other vans of this time, it certainly was a huge step up. And then it goes on to tell us about the new extra safety for 1969. It talks about fascia crash pad, piano key switches, redesigned handles, 4-way emergency flasher, 2-speed wipers, burst proof glove box lid, relocated heater controls, redesigned accessory switches, relocated choke, ignition, stop and idle controls, redesigned front quarter vent catches, redesigned front and rear quarter vent catches on buses, recessed door pulls, redesigned full and half bulkheads, and the rest of the new Supervan safety features are kind of like listed if you really want to see all those little new features. As it just tunes in. Thank you. These are some of these little pictures, little drawn, very crudely drawn little pictures, you know, the piano key switches. We've got a 4-way emergency flasher. How exciting. And these recessed door pulls. Finally, we get the specifications, which we'll have a look at if you're interested to see what the specifications were at this time. So I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but of course you can pause the screen at any time if you do want to read any of this descriptions, and it really gives you a good chance to see the availability, i.e. the different models, the different engines that were available in 1969. You know, it could be even like simple things that made all the difference on a Transit, like that 4-speed fully synchromesh gearbox. And then it continues on the other side, talking about long wheelbase models. This side, of course, was the short wheelbase. So huge choice with the Transit, which was a huge thing at the time. Like so. Okay, so this is kind of like wraps up the Saturday special. Saturday special, like I say, it's just really an overview. I always try to keep it around about 10 minutes. I probably failed again at that, but never mind. So what do we have on next week coming up? Monday, we've got the Triumph 2.5 Pi. That's going to be one to watch. Wednesday, we've got the Rover 800. And then on Friday, for the next Ford Friday, we've got another Ford Cortina. So we'll see you very soon. So what we'll say is thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Take care. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.